rich and inspiring morning that has awakened our interest in many areas in the fight against female genital mutilation. More so in the area of bridge building, which we in the Inter-African Committee consider extremely important. And this can be done in many ways. Exchange of youth programs, bringing African youth to Europe and exchanging ideas, bringing in African religious leaders or other religious leaders to work together to clarify the issue of the misconception of religion. Also in lobbying and advocacy, we can really come together, trace areas of collaboration, those working in Europe and Africa, and try to have a common strategy in order to have policies and actions on the part of governments. Our lobbying strategy at the international level, I think we can come together and trace this possibility for us living in Europe and also having the possibility to go to New York and impact policy. How can we work together to make these resolutions and conventions meaningful? Those are areas that we can look into. In the area of research, action-oriented research, there is a lot that is done in Africa. For example, the Inter-African Committee has a scientific committee looking into the area of research. What has worked, what is likely to work. Now that scientific committee can be scaled up with the support of European scientists and sociologists and anthropologists. In this area, actually the Inter-African Committee is working on organizing a special event, a special meeting of experts in order to really analyze and see what has worked in Africa and what could work in Europe. Networking among non-governmental organizations, the Euronet, the Inter-African Committee, and others, in order for us to come together and again share our experiences. Even in observing this Zero Tolerance Day next year, how can we build bridge? Should it be only in Europe, or can we think of organizing it in Africa with the same idea of consolidating our efforts? So with this, I hope that you will feed us with concrete ideas on this area of bridge building, so that we can come up with plans of actions in definite areas that can consolidate us and build a strong bridge and consolidate the network that we have. So with these words, I would just like to say thank you very much. First to the co-sponsors, UNICEF, UNFPA, UNHCR, and to my colleagues who have really worked hard. Mind you, I wasn't here when all this was being organized. I was comfortably staying in Addis Ababa. It's my colleagues who arranged it all. So I'm a stranger to this. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. And thank you, the interpreters. Again, I would like to add my words to Tiki for keeping us together and for building bridges between the languages and enabling us to understand each other. Thank you very much for representatives of organizations, of course governments, and friends of the Inter-African Committee and others for being with us today, giving us your time and your ideas. We do hope that next year we'll come up with another attractive theme, and we'll come again together next year. And we do count on your support to enable us to continue the work, both here and in Africa. So with these few words, I just want to say thank you again, and see you in between.
Message I will take back to Lucerne, to Caritas Switzerland, is that building bridges between Europe and the African countries, that means an exchange and not only a one-way information. So that means that we can learn from the youth, from the adults, from the different organizations, from the African countries, bring this information and this knowledge here to Switzerland, and on the other side we have something to share, something else to share, and bring it back to Africa. That is one thing which is very, very important for me, and I think we have to reinforce this exchange. Yeah.
Thank you.
Reach abandonment of FGMC within a generation if we get more support, if we're able to accelerate the efforts and scale up what we're doing. So for me, that was really the message of today. I think it was great because we had people from all different sectors. We had people from Africa, from Europe, and even people from the US. I mean, we had people from all over who are all committed and motivated to really making this acceleration happen.
I would like to suggest that a fund is being set up for the women who do the excision to have an income until the end of their days, with the promise they make to not initiate some other young women to continue this practice. And maybe the governments, especially those 12 governments that already have legislation to end the female genital mutilation, that they could create a fund because it is also their income, to have an alternative income for these women, and in this way the promise to end this practice in one generation could be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If I had the power to change, I would give the young women the opportunity to speak to power, to explain how they suffer through this process.
My name is Nafisa Diop. I'm the coordinator of the UNFPA UNICEF Joint Program on female genital mutilation cutting. And this is a program that have started in 2008, which is has the goal to cover 17 priority countries in Africa, and those countries have been selected based on the high prevalence rates of female genital mutilation cutting, and also on some criteria regarding the ethnicity, because we know that beyond country boundaries there is an issue of ethnic group, and some are practicing while others are not practicing female genital mutilation cutting. So the approach that we need to have is goes beyond looking at the issue within a country, but looking at it within a region or within a sub-region, and within some ethnic group. So what I can say is that today we have made a lot of progress, even if there is still a lot of things to do, but a lot of progress because basically we have almost 20 countries in Africa that have passed law, specific law forbidding the practice of female genital mutilation cutting. So, so I think that we need to recognize some political will and the role of parliamentarian in addressing this issue and eliminating this issue in Africa. However, I will say yes and no. Yes, because I think that we have a lot of, first of all, a lot of governments that are now taking some ownership, even to coordinate the response at country level. As I was mentioning, the law that have been passed in the majority of countries in Africa. There is still some countries that do not have a law yet, but another issue also that we can say which is positive is that we understood that there is, by working with the communities themselves and by working with leaders, we can really move forward and have the ownership of the abandonment of the practice by the communities themselves. So this is something that is starting. It's a movement that have started in several countries with a lot of public declaration of abandonment of female genital mutilation cutting. We have a lot of local leaders and religious leaders that are taking some stands against the practice. And we think that all those elements are very positive. We have the international community that have recognized also that the practice is need to be eliminated. We have a resolution in 2009 taken by the United Nations and all the member states on the girl child with a very strong a position on the elimination of female genital mutilation cutting. We have the CSW, which is the Commission for the Women's Status, that has taken a resolution last year also on female genital mutilation cutting, calling all the countries to not only African countries but also European countries or wherever the practice is done today, even in migrant communities, to address this issue and to report on a regular basis on the progress made. So those are achievements. In terms of what are the challenges? Of course, there is still a lot of challenges, and I think that one of the first challenges that we are facing is funding issue, and we need to recognize that the investment that is being done in other issue like HIV/AIDS, like maternal mortality and immunization of the child and all, are not really reaching. I mean, the investment that is done in female genital mutilation cutting is not at the level of this kind of investment that is done in other issues. And so we do think that this issue need to be taken more seriously. And that more investment needs to be done, because basically NGOs, government and all, in the plan of action and what they want to do, there is a need, of course, to support activities, to support human resource, and to support the intervention that has been taken in Africa and in overall.
Thank you.